And back at it again with another live one for all of you Bi-Conics Wrestling fanatics out there. And welcome to another exciting episode of Bound for Review, the Impact Wrestling review show here. Still working on the new title of the name, but I am your host, Mikey, and I'm excited to be back again. Pardon for the voice. I'm starting to lose it after all these reviews, and it is also really early that I'm recording this, so trying to be respectful of people in the house sleeping. But y'all, we are less than a week away from Emergence, and we are slowly getting the final card, and I'm really excited. And of course, tomorrow we have Multiverse United 2 with New Japan and Impact. Unfortunately, there will be no pay-per-view review, as that's kind of like a special one-off show. And we are going to reserve our pay-per-views for the main brands of those shows, unless we decide to. But anyways, let's just jump straight into our Impact review for this week. So we open up with a bit of a replay of PCO returning last week as he chases off Bully Ray into the sunset. And then after bumpers and the intro card, we jump into our first match of the night, which sees Deonna Perazzo taking on Kylan, King of the Coven. So if you remember from last week's review, Deonna called out Kylan to have a match with her, and she wanted Trinity to watch said match as we prepare for the rematch for Deonna versus Trinity for the Knockouts Championship, and I'm excited for this match, and I thought this match was pretty good. So at the start, Deonna goes for a wrist lock at first before King bucks her off. Deonna manages to trap King into the armbar for just a moment. Once King returns to the ring after she escapes from said armbar, Deonna hits her with another couple of takedowns. Deonna then follows it with a baseball slide to knock King off her feet on the floor. King then is rolled back in, but she counters a takedown by slamming Perazzo face to face on the canvas for a cover, which looked kind of gnarly, to be honest. King hits a couple of corner elbows, and then Deonna delivers a few of her own. King manages to boot Deonna off of the apron. However, this was quick enough because then Deonna wins by a submission by trapping King into the Queen's Gambit. I think that's what her submission move is called. I might be wrong. But anyways, Deonna wins this match, and throughout the whole entire segment, we get cut backstage where we see Trinity watching from backstage. So this is continuing to build the feud between Deonna and Trinity, and I'm excited to see this rematch at Emergence next week. So we cut backstage after this match where we see Gia Miller interviewing Kenny King about Johnny Swinger, of all people, challenging him for the Digital Media Championship at Emergence. King then has words for Heath after he keeps attacking people from behind. We then go into another segment where Santino is speaking to Kevin Knight when Bully Ray interrupts and tells Knight to get lost. Bully pleads for protection from PCO, and at this point, Moose and Brian Myers walk up, so Bully changes his tone. Myers asks for a match against Alex Shelley tonight. Moose calls everyone a coward until Knight returns and defends Kushida. Santino books Knight versus Moose for tonight and Myers versus Shelley for the Impact Championship next week, which, okay, sure, why not? That's fine. But all right. I mean, I get it. Like, Josh is still recovering and we don't want him to get hurt or ruin everything because we are going to get him back at Emergence, but this black hole of Moose and Myers and Leo Rush and Bully Ray is kind of all over the place a little bit. You know, I think the 8-man tag will be great at Emergence, but I'm kind of ready for everyone to go their separate ways after this, but we'll see. Next, we get another knockouts match where we see a triple threat between Killer Kelly versus Jessica versus Savannah Evans. So this is great because these three teams, along with the Coven, are going to have a fatal 4-way match for MK Ultra, which is Masha and Killer Kelly's tag team name, for their Knockouts Tag Team Championship match. And so everybody's getting on the show. Women are getting time. It's great. So we start off with Jessica and Evans having a stare down while Kelly keeps trying to interrupt. Jessica tells Kelly she has to be this tall to ride this ride. So I kind of chuckled at that. Kelly leaves off the top with a double cross body. Kelly kicks Jessica across the chest and goes for a cover. We then get a headbutt to Evans, which connects. Kelly charges but gets hit with the sit-out power bomb, followed by a big German suplex in which Jessica breaks the cover. Jessica elbows Evans and then drops her to the mat. Returning splash on Evans, Kelly breaks it up. So these women are going at it at this point. Kelly tries for a sleeper on Jessica until she gets bucked off. Evans drops Jessica with a DDT for a cover. Kelly breaks it again and then drops Evans into Jessica, which then Kelly quickly pins Jessica for the win. So your winner of this match is Killer Kelly. I'm really excited for this Fatal 4-Way because I think these are the strongest knockouts tag teams that Impact currently has on the roster between the Coven, the Death Dolls, you have the Shantaraj, and then you also have MK Ultra. I'm excited to see what the Go Home show looks like next week, and I'm excited to see what we get, but good on Impact for all utilizing almost pretty much all their women on the roster. It is so good. Next, we get a quick vignette from Dirty Dango as he runs down Jake something, and then it's like, okay, cool, whatever, it's fine. So Jake versus Dirty Dango might be something, but we'll see what happens after that. We then get Moose taking on Kevin Knight. So Moose shoves Knight to start and quickly slams him to the mat. Moose delivers big chest chops, which, I always give kudos to any wrestler that takes a chest chop because those things hurt. So after the chest chops, Knight fires back with a couple of chops of his own until Moose gets mad and cuts him off. Moose then grabs Knight and hits him with the sky high out of the corner. To Moose's surprise, however, Knight kicks out. Moose then throws some punches on the mat and then gets in the ref's face to argue. Moose steps on Knight to hold him down. Knight escapes a powerbomb and hits a super kick. Knight then tries knocking Moose off his feet, but doesn't have any luck with it, unfortunately, because as he leaps off the top rope, but Moose kind of hits in Uranagi. Moose continues to keep Knight grounded and slaps him across the face a couple of times. Moose throws Knight to the ropes, but Knight explodes back with a couple of forearm shots, I should say. Moose is down on the knee as Knight goes for a DDT. Moose catches him, though, and launches him out of the ring. Then, after we come back from commercial break, Moose pump kicks only for Knight to follow it with a big drop kick. Moose rolls out and Knight launches himself over the ropes. Moose catches him, but Knight twists him over on the ramp. Back inside, Knight lands a missile drop kick. Knight then catches a couple of roll-ups before hitting a code red for an even closer near fall. However, Moose finally hits Knight with the spear to end this match, with your winner of this match being Moose. I thought this was a phenomenal match. I really enjoyed it. Kevin Knight is slowly becoming one of my favorites. Moose is always great. And it was just a fun match. So, after this match, we get a quick backstage segment where we see the Rascals confronting Santino backstage. And, the Rascals are getting ready. They confront Santino and everything. And this is kind of the follow through because the Rascals are getting ready to face Sami Callihan and Rich Swann. And the winner of that match is going to move on to Emergence to face Subculture for the tag titles. But Santino is like, hey, if you pull your shenanigans, any of that stuff, you guys are going to be in trouble. But of course, this is the Rascals we're talking about, so it's never as easy as it seems, but it is what it is. So then we get Eric Young taking on Khan of the Design. So Eric Young is slowly building his way to face the final boss of Diener, probably at Emergence, but we'll see. So this is a quick match because there's a lockup to start. Diener hops on the apron and Khan flattens Eric Young off of the distraction. Khan chokes Eric Young in the ropes in front of Diener, who then strikes Eric Young when the refs backs Khan off. Khan clobbers Eric Young back to the mat and clutches on his shoulders. Eric Young breaks free and manages to drop Khan with a huge Death Valley driver. Eric Young covers for a 2. Eric Young tries to go hit Khan with a pile driver, which at this point we see Diener strike Eric Young with the chair for the DQ, so Eric Young wins by DQ. After post-match, we see Diener sit on the chair while Khan chokeslams Eric Young. Diener hits Eric Young with a DDT onto the chair as well, ending this kind of segment. Normally, I don't like DQ finishes, and I'm trying to understand exactly why we had a DQ finish here. Normally, and this is in my head, I feel that since we're getting Eric Young versus Diener, you want him to beat Khan. But then again, we have the go home show, so maybe you want Eric Young to get some sort of momentum. I don't know what's happening. But ultimately, right now, it's 2-on-1, and I'm very interested to see who Eric Young gets to kind of even the odds as we continue on with this feud. But ultimately, this match served its purpose. Diener's being a little turd, and Eric Young is fighting a 2-on-1 battle. I'm happy to see Eric Young back, and I'm excited to have him be a babyface in this kind of run. So we shall see what happens as the story continues to progress. Okay, Joe Hendry and Yu Uemura, right? So we get this like musical video montage of them working together. I fucking love this shit. I love cheesiness. Joe Hendry and Yuya as a team is something I want really badly now that we have it. And Joe Hendry's like using music videos and everything is freaking hilarious. And I am excited to see when eventually we get a tag team match with these two down the line. Oh my gosh, I love my cheesy wrestling moments. It's so good. Okay, so this next part I actually really enjoyed. As I mentioned in last week's review, we got the part 1 of the Crazy Steve interview, and now we get the part 2. And now this kind of made me love Crazy Steve even more. So let's go over this segment. So we get the part 2 of the Crazy Steve interview. So Crazy Steve is sitting down with Tom Hannafan for their interview. And at this point, at the beginning of this interview, Steve says he grew up in the trailer park in a broken home with an alcoholic father. Their mother battled cancer, and Steve had to take care of his sister. Steve had to work hard for 12 years before signing with Impact Wrestling. And then in March of 2014, that dream came true. It was but it should have been the best day of his life, but unfortunately it wasn't because his mom took her own life 3 weeks before that. And when he came to TNA, Impact, whatever it was called back then, he was portrayed as a clown at first, but he is no clown, nor is he crazy. And as the part 2 ends, Tom says he's never heard most of that story. Tom then asks why he's telling the story now, in which we get hit with the Be Continued, and we'll get the final part next week on Impact. So, this was a pretty heavy interview from Crazy Steve. And I have known Crazy Steve as, well, being Crazy Steve of, Crazy Steve of Impact, man. Like, he's out here, he's wild, like, there's maybe a couple screws loose in his head, but this is such a beautiful shift in character dynamic, as this is the person behind the character, not Crazy Steve himself. And I honestly do not know where this is going to lead, but this made me a bigger fan of Crazy Steve, so I'm actually excited. I may want to send this interview to JVL, Professor, and Will and get their take on, while this is an interview, not necessarily a promo, I really enjoyed it, and I thought this was really beautiful. And I'm more invested, and I'm so behind Crazy Steve now. Like, I'm interested to see how the interview ends and then what happens next. And I'm a fan now. I've been a fan of Crazy Steve, and now I'm like super behind him. And I think I love when my wrestling characters kind of take off the bravado of the mask and we get to see the real person behind it, because sometimes it enhances the character and it ultimately allows people to see, hey, I'm a person just like you, and these are my struggles and things like that. This, honestly, in terms of segments, Yuya and Joe Hendry, as funny as that was, and I love my cheesiness, I think this was probably my favorite non-wrestling match segment of this episode. If you haven't, go check out that interview, rewatch Impact. This was very profound, and I highly encourage you to watch it. And once again, I'm excited to see what happens with Crazy Steve, the conclusion of this interview, and what's next for him in his career. We then jump straight into another promo where we see Chris Sabin cut a promo on Lio Rush. After Emergence, Sabin is coming back for the X Division title. And at this part, we see Samurai del Sol walk up and says he didn't come here to get attacked in his hometown. So Sabin agrees to face Del Sol next week. So then we head into our kind of semi-main event where we see Bully Ray taking on Black Taurus of Decay in a no DQ match. So basically anything goes. Bully walks down to the ring with 2 trash cans in hand. Then this match starts off where both of them They start off quickly as Taurus shoulder tackles Bully a few times in a row. Bully ducks out of the ring only for Taurus to launch himself out onto Ray. Bully then gets tossed into the steel ring post. Taurus grabs chairs from under the ring and tosses them inside. We cut to a commercial, and when we come back, Taurus clubs Billy with a big right hand. Taurus slams a trash can against Bully's back and then repeats it with a chair shot, so oof. Bully takes back on the offense as he rakes the eyes to get some space. He then props up a ladder in the corner and whips Taurus, only for Bully to get whipped face first into said ladder, which was hilarious to watch. Bully then punches Taurus in the face until Taurus comes back with a headbutt. Taurus hits a Samoan drop and then a twisting senton for a 2-count as Taurus goes for another twisting senton, but Bully gets out of the way and lands on the ladder. Bully capitalizes and scores the pinfall, as the winner of this match is Bully Ray. Post-match is kind of where it's at, though, because PCO then appears in the ring behind Bully. They scream at each other before Bully slams PCO through the table, which PCO, like the monster he is, pops right back up, and this scares Bully enough for him to run away into the back. Obviously, we have this 8-man tag set for Emergence, but I could see at Victory Road or something that Bully Ray and PCO have a match, and it should be interesting. So next, we get Eddie Edwards in the back. He is upset about what happened to Alicia last week. Kazarian interrupts, and security keeps them apart while they keep trading words. Eddie says that they'll settle it in the ring like men, and Kazarian says Kowalski wouldn't want it to end like this, which is their teacher. Kazarian says they'll end it in Massachusetts at Kowalski's school. So at this point of the show, Tom Hannafan, one of our lovely commentators, runs down the Multiverse United 2 card, which is taking place this Sunday in Philadelphia. And it is at this point, too, that we get the announcement that IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Sonata will be defending his title at Emergence against Jake something. Listen, I am all for this match. Sonata, while is not necessarily my favorite New Japan wrestler, I know anytime we get New Japan stars should be fun, but Jake has worked New Japan before, and I'm excited to see this match at Emergence. And then we get the bumpers for what's going down next week on Impact. We are going to see Samurai del Se taking on Chris Sabin. Then we get Trinity taking on Jody Threat. We get ABC, which is Chris Bay and Ace Austin taking on the Good Hands. Then we're going to get Diener taking on Laredo Kid next week. Myers versus Alex Shelley for the Impact World Championship, which is probably going to be the main event for next week's episode. And then we jump into tonight's main event, which is the tournament finals to see who's going to go on to Emergence to face against Subculture. And it is going to be, and we see this finals being had between the Rascals taking on Rich Swann and Sami Callihan. I'm really, really excited. This is gonna be great. Honestly, this is gonna be fun. So we start this match with Trey and Swann in the ring until Sami takes over and works Trey's left arm. Sami and Swann double team Trey for a moment until Wentz hits Swann with a cutter in the ropes. Sami drops Trey with a DVD on the apron. Swann then flips out of the ring and to wipe out the Rascals. After the break, Trey kicks Swan and keeps him grounded. Trey then whips Swan into the corner for a chop. Swan breaks free with a rolling clothesline, which is very fun to see, by the way. Wentz and Sammy then get the tag. Sammy hits a flatliner DDT combo on the Rascals, but they quickly fire back with a tandem offense, resulting in a beautiful shooting star press into a cover from Wentz. Trey returns, but Sammy hits Wentz with a pile driver onto Trey. Swan gets the tag and he super kicks Trey and Wentz before hitting a head scissors on Trey, who landed on Wentz. Trey double kicks with the springboard, but Swan comes back with the scissor kick as Sammy drops him with the side slam. And then, as we get into the finishing sequence of this match, Trey spikes Swan onto the canvas before Wentz drop kicks Sammy off the apron. Wentz double stomps on Swan, where Trey almost gets the near fall here at this point. The Rascals, Sammy, and Swan all hit simultaneous super kicks on each other and fall down. Swan covers Wentz and then tags out. They hit double knees before Trey breaks it up. Wentz dives onto Swan on the outside, which allows Trey on the inside to spray Sammy while the ref is away, with Trey, the Rascals, double teaming Sammy and double pinning him for the win. So your winners of this match are the Rascals, which means that at Emergence, it is going to be the Rascals taking on Subculture for their Impact World Tag Team Championship. So the Rascals are going to be challenging Subculture for the titles at Emergence. And of course, the Rascals cheated to win here, which has been the staple in this whole entire tournament. Overall, I thought this was a really fun match. Of course, Rich Swann and Sami Callihan are always some good staples in Impact, and they're fun. The Rascals have been so fun since they've returned and reunited, since Trey and Zachary Wentz have reunited. And now we got our tag team championship match set for Emergence, which is going to be good. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But that is going to be the end of this Bound for Review this week for Impact. My final rating for this episode, I give this a solid 8 out of 10. Impact never ceases to always make me have a good time, and I don't care if people think that Impact is a smaller promotion, it is not even like on the same scale, because while they may not have the stadium size, and while they may not have a large roster, Impact utilizes almost everyone they have on their roster. And having a small roster size isn't that bad, because you get to use people, even your lower card guys and gals, and you still allow them to be shown and make them look competent and great even in defeat. WWE and AEW's biggest problem is because their roster is so huge, we don't get to see everybody on television, and Impact always does a great job of utilizing all the talent they get and making sure everybody looks competent, and it's just a fun time. So I give this a solid 8 out of 10. I'm really excited for Multiverse United 2. That card looks so good, and it looks crazy, and I'm really excited for it. I'm definitely going to be catching it either tomorrow, or I'll be watching the replay later in the week. However, there will be no review, as it is a special show, and we tend to kind of stick to only the main pay-per-views for all of the brands. But that is going to be it. If you enjoyed this review, make sure that you check out our other reviews here on the Bi-Conics YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. You can find us over on the social medias at BC WrestlePod, and you also can find us where all podcasts can be listened to for the Bi-Conics Wrestling Podcast, where we talk about wrestling. That is not television review, so if you want to hear our insights, our banter, our fights, when we cry a little bit, it is a great time to be had. But that is going to be it. I'm excited to come back next week to review the go home show for Emergence, and I still am kind of a little puzzled as why Emergence is going head to head with All In. Now, I have my problems with the build of All In, but I'm excited for Emergence, and I definitely will be giving the review for Emergence as well. But that is going to be it for me. This has been Mikey for your Bound for Review Impact Wrestling for Thursday, August 17th. Yeah, sure. Why not? Time is a construct, it is blurring together. But yes, for August 17th. And until the next episode for the Bound for Review, take care of yourself, love one another, and from all of us here at the Bi-Conics, adios, sayonara, and thanks for watching. See you later.